So I was talking to Slap God the other day, and I was talking about some of the decks I have on my website. And believe it or not, a lot of the decks that are on my website, no matter how unique they are actually fairly cohesive and concrete. Like they have decent themes, right? And one of the decks that I think a lot of people probably looked over, didn't even click on, haven't even messed with is going to be Meklord, right? So I'll kind of show you real quick what it looks like up here on the website. And that list is kind of designed to be revolving around the Meklord archetype. So it's a little more heavy on the Meklord engine versus the deck I'm about to show you. The deck I'm about to show you is going to be my concept for Meklord Karakuri, which the Meklord build does have a little Karakuri engine in it, but I actually think going heavier on the Karakuri side does make this deck a bit better, which is why I wanted to kind of showcase, because there's a lot of cool concepts and even some cool combos that this deck can pull off that, again, you probably haven't seen before or probably haven't even thought of, which is why I kind of wanted to make a video showcasing this deck, because it is one of my favorite, I guess, really off meta decks that I think is kind of unique and really cool. And so we're kind of going to jump into it. I have the deck here just laid out for you guys so you can take a look, and we'll kind of just talk about why everything is where it is and all that stuff. So we'll probably pick all these cards up so you guys can see the overview, but we'll pick up these cards and I'll kind of walk you through why each card is in there, like we have with our recent deck profile videos. So yeah, we're gonna hop right into that. All right, so to start this off, I'm actually going to talk about the trap of the deck, right? If you haven't ever seen Meklords, which I don't assume a lot of you guys to heavily look into, Meklords use a card called Chaos Infinity, which is the trap card you see right here. Now, Chaos Infinity has a very unique effect, almost like a Zodiac Barrage sort of effect, but not as cool. But basically, it's a trap that says, change as many defense position monsters on the field as possible to face up attack position, then special summon one Meklord monster from your deck or graveyard, but its effects are negated and it gets destroyed during the end phase. So the cool thing about that is basically what you can summon off this card is going to be Meklord Army of Wizel. And Wizel is a dark 1800 beater that's also a machine. And so that obviously has a lot of flexibility in what you can do with it. And so we're on 2 copies because of the fact that sometimes that you want to banish one of these or something like that. Having access to 2, if one gets banished, it doesn't turn off all your Chaos Infinities. Or if you're exceeding with 1 and need another one, it can come up. So I think it's good to play 2. So that's kind of the basis. We're building this deck around this core fundamental engine of Chaos Infinity going into Wizel, to make some crazy stuff happen. So I'll kind of elaborate why the other cards are in here, but I wanted you guys to understand that what the core is of the kind of unique thing of the Meklord engine, I guess, so to speak. And so yeah, this is the core package. This is what we're working with, but this turns into something a bit deeper. And one thing I want to kind of highlight is I'm not showing this deck because I think it's some insane crazy meta deck. I do think it's really fun, but I will say this deck is pretty max-seeable. I mean, it still has decent stopping points, but I will say in your combos, most of your combos will result in your opponent at least drawing 2 cards, because Chaos Infinity, if you're using this to summon a Wizel, it gets destroyed if you don't special summon again. So if you don't exceed or synchro with this Wizel, you're going to get punished, right? So you kind of are forced to give them the second draw. So if you get max seed, it does kind of hurt. Which is why I don't know how crazy good this deck is, but I do think it is really cool. It's pretty unique and fun. So to go alongside the Chaos Infinity package, we have Dakoichi. And now Dakoichi has its own unique combo in here. A lot of people think it's in here just because we're also on a Black Salvo package. And Black Salvo is really good in this deck because of the fact that not only can it reborn your Wizel, because this is a dark machine, but you can also bring back the Dakoichi. I mean, this is the age-old combo that you have, but since all of these are machines, this also lets you synchro into your berets for a level 7. So this becomes a 1-card beret, which then leads into Karakuri combos, which I think is a really cool little thing that we have going for us. And then going alongside that, we also have Gen X Neutron, which can search us our tuners, or Black Salvo, which basically Gen X Neutron, the Black Salvo package, as well as the Wizel, and plus triple effect Veiler, that's now going to give us the weirdest thing ever, which now Karakuris can have access to BLS, right? So we're running a 1-of copy of BLS because we have probably just the right amount of lights and darks to make it work. I don't think you could go heavier on the Chaos package, but we have 5 lights and then like 7 darks, and I think that's probably more than enough to at least summon a BLS once in the game, and so I think it's kind of worth the slot. And then going alongside that, like I said, so Black Salvo is going to enable us to do 1-card Karakuri combos. You summon the Salvo, you bring back either the Weisel or the Dekoichi, and then you can synchro for 7 and then, you know, summon a Karakuri from your deck. And so the core cards we have for that is, we of course have the initial tuners, which is in the like pure Meklord deck I have, which is, this is basically like the extent of that package for the pure deck, is I have Strategist as well as Saizan, because they're like very flexible. But I also decided like I wanted to put Quick in here because Quick is like a card that creates like, you know, makes your Karakuri extensions really good. You go into a Beret, you summon a Quick, you change something from attack to defense or vice versa, and then let Quick swing over it to bring back a tuner and then kind of continue the combo. So I liked having a single copy of Quick for that exact extension line. But then what I realized is I kind of ran into this issue where if I didn't open exactly Neutron or Dekoichi, I kind of had a very underwhelming starting position where like nothing really sustains itself on its own, which felt kind of awkward. So I realized that what I wanted to do was I wanted to add something that's like a good standalone card, and you guys have already kind of seen me talk about in my Karakuri videos. I've talked about Soldier, and so I decided to put 3 Soldier in. This is also just a great card to summon off of your like your Beret and Beretos if you have nothing else, because at the very least you're just summoning a floater that can get you into Quick or something later if you don't need something immediately. This is just a nice card to get. And so that's basically the entire monster lineup and why it's there. I'm going to continue kind of explaining the combos, but I'll also kind of just lay out like, you know, these are the staples. These are standard: Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, Mind Control, Book of Moon, MST, Pot of Avarice. Obviously we have a mild Chaos package, so Avarice can feel kind of bad, but because we're cycling through Karakuris and going to be going through our extra deck fairly quickly, Pot of Avarice seems fine. And then we're also on 2 copies of the Pot of Duality. This is just because of we want to add consistency to seeing like either the Koichi, Soldier, or Neutron turn 1 to have something to like set up with, basically. And then the rest of it is just going to be traps, and I don't even know. I'm just going to like awkwardly lay these out like this, like this. I mean, I don't really need to explain it. This is just the trap lineup, right? Like we just have a lot of traps alongside the Chaos Infinity. So that's kind of like the core basis. I want to be honest here, like I haven't like put a ton of time into testing this. I mostly just wanted to show like some concrete deck list that you guys could kind of start with, so then if you want to mess with some of these concepts you can. And this is where I think it's really fun, because there are a lot of really crazy combos that can come out from this, which I'll kind of show you in a bit. We'll move on to the extra deck and the side, and then we're going to just do like a couple basic combo tutorials for this list so you guys can see. All right, so moving on to the extra deck, we just have Chimera Tech, Utopia, Zenmeister, and Zenmeister is important. I'll show you why later, but this does have a really cool combo in this deck. We have Trishula, Scrap Dragon, Beredo, Stardust, 2 Beret. This basically is just your standard Karakuri extra deck with a Zenmeister thrown in. And I think like I cut Barkion out of like my Karakuri extra deck for exactly 1 Zenmeister. So the rest of the cards kind of remain the same, and that's because you don't actually have a way to make Barkion without the Merchant, so you don't really need it. And again, Zenmeister is way more important in this build specifically. So that's the extra deck. Doesn't need much explanation. Most of this is pretty standard for like a Karakuri extra deck. So yeah, we'll move on to the side. All right, last but not least, onto the side deck. I threw this together. I don't know if it's good. Again, I kind of put this stuff, videos like this out for you guys to explore and, optimize some of these concepts or ideas, but just give you the starting point. So I just kind of figured doing like the 2 Thunder King, 2 Cyber Dragon, kind of similar to my Karakuri deck where I have 1 and 1 in my main deck. But since this can't really afford to do that, we're just going to do like, if I'm going second, I might side in the Cyber Dragons. If I'm going first, I might side in the Thunder Kings. Then we also have 2 copies of Max C. Since you do get board control pretty easily in this deck, Max C does seem like it has higher value. We have the 2 My Body, again, because of the Herald of Orange Light, and then, other matchups like, getting through Catastor, stuff like that. The triple Lance for the hero matchup, as well as double MST, and then 2 Decree. Very similar to my Karakuri side deck, like I said. So that's pretty much it. Doesn't need too much explanation. So now I'm just going to kind of jump into the combos for you, so we can kind of make sure this video goes pretty quick. So yeah, we'll hop right into that. Here's the bread and butter, right? I'm going to use Nisamu, but this could be any level 4 monster. Neutron is also a fantastic candidate for this, right? So we're going to kind of show off what Chaos Infinity can do in this deck and why I think it's so unique and really, really cool, right? So let's say you have a Nisamu on your field. You set a Nisamu, your opponent attacks into it, you get another Nisamu, right? You just go 4 into 4, right? This combo, all this needs for this combo to go off and do some like really cool stuff is you need a Dekoichi plus a Chaos Infinity and any level 4 monster already on the field, right? So turn goes back to you. We draw this Dekoichi. We got the Chaos Infinity set, right? And we're going to lead off the turn just by setting the Dekoichi, right? So once the Dekoichi is set, we can now activate Chaos Infinity, which is going to flip up the Dekoichi and allow us to special summon the Meklord from our deck, right? So here I'm going to special summon out Meklord Army of Weisel. And what I think is really cool about this combo here is this is where the wind-up Zenmeister comes in. So not only do we summon this, we also get to draw a card off of the Dekoichi. And then what you can do is you can exceed these two into wind-up Zenmeister. You can detach the Weisel to reset your Dekoichi, which means Dekoichi is going to flip and then get you another draw, right? So like this is like a little combo that like builds quite a bit of resources, right? So, and like obviously if you have trap cards to protect the Dekoichi as well as the Zenmeister, if you get to do this a second time, like at the start of your turn, you can just detach, reset, flip, and then get a third draw, right? So it gets you a lot of draws, which I think is like really cool. It's just like a little like almost like a GOAT format-esque abuse of Dekoichi by using Zenmeister. And so yeah, that's like a combo I'm a big fan of. Honestly, like I believe even in my pure Meklord build, I ran 2 copies of Zenmeister for this combo specifically. You could technically cut the Chimera Tech for a second one if you felt like you wanted to go that route, because I do think it's pretty justified. This combo is pretty easy to make happen, as you guys can see, and also gives you a lot of cool like draw combo power, stuff like that. All right, so now for the next combo, we're just going to start with a Chaos Infinity, and then obviously we need a Dark in the graveyard, as well as a Black Salvo. So what's cool about this one is you can go normal summon Black Salvo, effect to special summon back the Dekoichi, and then right here, if you, I mean, you can technically choose how you go about it. It's probably smart, or like it's better to synchro first, right, into your Karakuri synchro to see what happens. But just as an example, like you can technically activate Chaos Infinity here to switch this back to attack and then synchro and do some stuff, right? But like for the sake of it, we'll just synchro here for 7, make our Beret. And then Beret can go ahead and special summon out a Watchdog in defense, right? And so now with Watchdog in defense, you can then use Chaos Infinity to switch it to attack and then special summon out your Weisel, which is then going to give you like Karakuri combos, right? So you can then synchro into 8. This is going to get you the Burrito. Burrito can then summon out, like you could go for Quick and then use Beret to swap something, and then Quick can bring back the Watchdog, and then go for the Draw 2 combo, or you could even just go into a Strategist here, and Strategist can switch and then draw you a card. Just a lot of kind of cool options, right? And I think like some of my favorite things about this is like we can even talk about another combo with Chaos Infinity. So yeah. So then another unique combo that I think is really cool with this, like, and this is where like a lot of the synergies come in with Chaos Infinity, is obviously you guys know like Karakuris have the ability to change battle positions like in the middle of a fight and stuff like that. And so one thing I kind of like is with this, right, you can do like a Quick combo, right? So let's say I attack with Quick and destroy a monster and then bring back like a Watchdog or really any Karakuri, right? Then what I can do is still in the battle phase, I can activate Chaos Infinity to swap this Watchdog to attack, and then I get to special summon my Meklord here, right? So this means I can not only still attack with my Watchdog if I want, but I can also, or I mean, you have to attack with the Watchdog if you switch it to attack, but this allows you to continue your attack and poke in and do like a lot of damage But also this then lets you do main phase 2, like synchro with the Weisel, and then do like a Karakuri combo, which is really cool. Like I said, like this deck just basically hard enables you to go for Karakuri combos basically a bit quicker. Like I said, like at the consequence of being more maxeable. The nice thing about it is I really like the idea that like Black Salvo can just be a 1-card starter to basically bring it, like go into any Karakuri combo just with the single Black Salvo, right? So like if you summon this and it's going to resolve, they don't have Valor, this is going to kind of pop off for you, and I kind of like that idea or concept. That's also why we're on a lot of back row, because obviously if it gets Valored or something, you want back row to protect it. But there are, even like as a standalone, if your graveyard isn't set up, like you can do this with any of your tuners, right? You can just set the Salvo and then Chaos Infinity to flip it back up and get your Meklord, and this is still going to give you some form of Karakuri combo, which I do really like. There's also even some things with like Strategist as well. So let's say my opponent has like 2 monsters on the field and they're going to kill this Nisamu, right? I can then do something crazy, like if I have a Chaos Infinity set, I can special summon the Strategist and change their next attack to defense with the Strategist, right? And Chaos Infinity doesn't just, it's like not exclusive to your monsters, it also can change your opponent's monster's battle position. So after your opponent like passes their turn, you can like use it to block an attack and then immediately go into Chaos Infinity, swapping their monster to special summon and then go into a Karakuri combo. So it does have just a lot of really unique interactions and things you can do. Again, I really like that you can abuse things like Beret and Beredo to bring out monsters. This also lets you do, like, for example, let's say you have a Beredo on the field and then you had a Karakuri monster in defense already. You could Chaos Infinity to swap it back to attack and then get your draw off the Beredo and special summon. Just like weird, cool things like that. So that's kind of the basis of the deck. And like I said, I didn't think a lot of people probably put together those interactions, which is why I kind of wanted to showcase this build. I don't have any like gameplay footage for you and stuff. That's on you guys to kind of figure out. Again, like I don't know how optimized this build really is. This is just kind of here based on the concept itself. And then lastly, just one other synergy I kind of wanted to showcase, which I do think is just like, it's like a very niche thing, but kind of cool. Which is like, if you have an established Beret on the field, this can obviously change the battle position of a monster. So you can even just stand alone, set a Dekoichi, and then use Beret's effect to flip it immediately and get yourself another draw, which I do kind of like. I think that is kind of like just cool. Like, again, Karakuri gimmicks that like synergize with this kind of weirdly well. And so, yeah. I think that is going to wrap it up for this video, you guys. We're just going to go ahead and give a quick shout out to my patrons. So shout out to Eric Gagnon, Slap God, My Dude, Photo Shooty, and Brian Ford. Thank you guys so much for the support. Other than that, let me know what you guys think about this deck in the comments. I'm really curious like how you guys feel about it, or if you even have some ideas on how to optimize this a bit more. Again, this is kind of just a rough draft build, but I do really want to see like how you guys feel about it, because I do think it is kind of just like a cool thing that I don't think a lot of people noticed or really put together. So hopefully showing this can kind of inspire you to want to try some stuff. I think in general, Chaos Infinity is just a really cool card, and I'd love to see some more people experiment it with like in the way I have. So yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. Thanks guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and have a great time doing today.